श्री गणेशाय नमः। श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। समस्त जनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। सन्तोषिणी जगन्माता मम सौभाग्यवृद्धये नमस्करोमि भक्त्या त्वां प्रसन्ना वरदा भव। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। So we are on the 17th verse. Vyapitara Ganagunitatafenotgamaruchi Pravaho varamyaha Vrishatalakudrishtasirasite Jagat Vipakaram Jalati Valayam Tena Kritamiti Anenaivonneyam Kritamahimadivyam Tavavapuhu. 17th verse. So, the Gangaji, which filled the ocean. Now you may ask how Gangaji happened to fill the ocean. Well, the ocean was already there, so why did she fill? There is a story also for that. There was Rakshasas, Asuras, who used to hide in the ocean and attack the heavens. So Devatas were not able to catch them because they hide in the ocean. So they all went and complained to Agastya Rishi. Agastya Rishi said, okay, I will take care of it. So he did Achavanam in his hand, palm. So the 7 seas were drank, completely drank. And when the waters have gone, the Rakshasas could not hide anywhere. So the Devatas destroyed them. But then, since the water had been already drank and emptied, so that should be filled. So therefore, this Gangaji came from the heavens. It was the will of Bhagavan only. And she filled this entire 7 seas. So that river, which filled the whole ocean, powerful river, looks as though a small little drop of water in the hair of Lord Shiva. And then can you imagine? You can imagine the glory and the magnitude of Bhagavan's body. Now this Gangaji also represent. This is called Jnana Ganga. Ganga is not a river. So it is representing symbolically Jnana Ganga, flow of knowledge from Guru to teacher. That is why the origin of Ganga is from the feet of Narayana, Lord Vishnu. The knowledge also came from Narayana. Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam. Narayana gave it to Brahmaji, Brahmaji gave it to Vasishta, Vasishta gave it to his son Shakti, Shakti gave it to Parashara, Parashara gave it to Vyasa, Vyasa gave it to Shuka, Shuka gave it to Govinda Bhagavat Gaudabadacharya, Gaudabadacharya gave it to Govinda Bhagavatpadacharya, Govinda Bhagavatpadacharya gave it to Shankara, Lord, our Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya gave it to his four Shishyat, Padmapada, Astamalaga, Todagacharya, Sureshwaracharya. Then our immediate Guru, from that parampara alone we got it. So this Guru Pushya parampara is symbolically given as Gangaji. That's why it has originated from Narayana. Then who brought it down to earth? The knowledge is in the heaven. How do you bring it down? Through tapas. Bhagirath did thousands of years of tapas. Only through tapas we can bring this knowledge down. Then who can receive the knowledge? Another tapasvi like Lord Shiva. Having received it, he did not give out immediately the knowledge to the world until he assimilated, digested that knowledge. Then he gave very little to the world, not the entire Gangaji came. Only small stream came out of his hair. So this, even though the knowledge is vast, what is given out to the world is very little. That itself was enough to fill the ocean. So this Guru Shishya Parampara, then again it was obstructed by Jannu Muni. Jannu Muni also drank. Vidakshoste koyam Tripura Trinamadambara Vidhi Vidheyai Kridantyo Nakalu Paratantra Prabhudhiya. Now to kill these three Rakshasas who are dwelling in these three cities, Bhagavan used Ratha Choni. The chariot was earth. Yanta, charioteer was Shatadriti Rakendra, Shatadriti Brahmaji. And Meru Parvatam, Ragendra, Meru is the bow. Meru Parvatam is the bow. So earth is the chariot. Meru Parvatam, Bhagavan, Brahmaji himself is the charioteer driver. And Meru Parvatam is the bow. Then Rathange Chandrarkaha. Surya and Chandra, sun and the moon were the wheels of the chariot. Ratha Charana Pani Shara Iti. Now this is very nicely said by Pushpadanta. He is telling Vishnu Now, what Vishnu's qualification is given here. In Mahabharata war time, Bhagavan said, I will never lift, I will never use any weapon. I will be an advisor maximum, but I will not fight. Now Bhishma Pitamaha also thought that how can he say that? I will make him break his vow. So one day Bhishma Pitamaha fought in such a ferocious way. He was destroying 20,000, 30,000 soldiers in minutes. And nobody could stop him that day. Arjuna tried, Arjuna was not able to stop him. When Bhagavan saw that, he got so frustrated, he jumped from the chariot and he didn't have any weapon in his hand. So there was one chariot fallen down. So that chariot, the Ratha Charana, Charana means the wheel. Charana means leg, but the leg for the chariot is wheel. So he took one wheel and ran towards Bhishma. When Bhishma saw that Bhagavan is coming to kill him, he kept his bow and arrow down and said, Bhagavan, please come. I am happy because I made you break your vow. So this is the greatness of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, for the sake of his devotees, he is ready to get a blame. So that Ratha Charana Pani Sharaiti. So Bhagavan Vishnu, Lord Krishna, he is the Sharam, means arrow. So we have chariot, the earth, then Brahmaji the charioteer, Meru Parvatam is the bow, then Surya and Chandra is the wheels, then the arrow is Mahavishnu himself. With this, Bhagavan destroyed the Tripura, these three cities. Now, Pushpadanda says, why all these things? It is not necessary. Tridakshoste koyam Tripura trina madambara vidhi. He says, all these are paraphernalia, that making earth as a chariot, and Brahmaji as a charioteer, Surya Chandra as the wheel, Meru Parvata as the bow, and Bhagavan Vishnu himself is the arrow. This kind of thing was not necessary, because for you to destroy that three cities, it is something like a blade of grass, a dry blade of grass. So easily you could have done it. Vidheyai kridanyo nakalu paratantra prabhudiyaha. You could have done this job because you have everything under your command, nothing dependent upon you. The very reason that you have done this, because these asuras' boon was such that the Lord has to use all these help. This is the way they asked. So the devotee, asuras were also devotee, they did tapas. And they requested that their death should be only like this. So therefore Bhagavan has to honor that boon. So therefore he went through all these paraphernalia. Otherwise it was not necessary. Bhagavan could have killed these three Rakshasas in no time. Now, this is true also in Bhagavata also. Bhagavan, Vishnu Bhagavan, the Hanumanji says that, oh Lord, you could have killed Ravana sitting in Vaikuntha only. You don't have to come down. The very fact that you came down shows your compassion towards devotees. To bless the humanity, to make everybody realize the truth, give them moksha. That is the reason why you have come, not only just to kill Ravana. If that was the purpose, you could have lie down in the comfortable bed of this Ananda Sheshanag. You could have sent one arrow, Ravana would have been killed. But that was not the purpose of Avatara. Avatara's purpose is to bless the humanity, guide them, lead them. to Bhagavan. So the same way here also, Bhagavan Pushpananda says that, O Lord Shiva, you are so powerful that these three cities are nothing compared to your power. You could have destroyed like a blade of grass, but you went through all this trouble to honor the boon that was given to them. Now this, the Tarakasuras and three Rakshasas also symbolically represent Tripura. Tripura means three cities. There is a book written by, there is a conversation, Tripura Rahasya. So it is a conversation between Dattatreya and Parashurama. It's a very beautiful conversation, wonderful book called Tripura Rahasya. There, symbolically, it is said Tripura means your three bodies. Sharira, Mana, Buddhi. Body, mind, intellect they are the three cities. Buddhi is gold, mind is silver, body is steel. And who is residing in these three cities? Our ego. Our ego, sometime at the body level, sometime at the mental level, sometime at the intellectual level. Now it is very difficult to destroy the ego. Traveling in speed in body, mind, intellect cities. Now who can kill this ego? Only the Lord can kill, destroy. So until you surrender to Bhagavan, destruction is not possible. That's why Lord Shiva is the presiding deity for ego. Ahankarasya devata Rudra. Now, after that, now comes another episode. Hariste sahasram kamala balimadhaya padayo yedeko netasmin nijamudaharan netra kamalam Gato bhaktyutrekaha parinati masau chakravapusha trayanam rakshayai tripura harajagarti jagatam. Hari te sahasram kamalam belim adaya padayoho. So Hari, Lord Vishnu, brought 1,000 lotuses and was offering them at your feet, chanting Shiva Sahasranama. Who was worshipping Shiva? Lord Vishnu himself. This is Shiva Puranam, okay? Shiva Puranam, Shiva is the highest. When you read Vishnu Puranam, Vishnu is the highest. There Shiva will be worshipping Vishnu. That is how it is. Now, people who are Vaishnavite, they get upset. So we have to cover that ground also. So here Hari is worshipping Lord Shiva with what? 1,000 flowers. Now it is said, a tradition is that when you sit for puja, you have to make sure all items are there first. Once everything is set, then only you should sit. But once you invoke the Lord, Asmin Bimbe Mahaganapatim Avahayami, Dhyayami Avahayami, Asanam Samarpayami. So once you offer him seat, you invoke him, then you should not get up. Because generally what happens, we start the puja, then suddenly we remember matches kahan hai. So, oh, batti kahan hai? Where is agarbatti? Where is the lamp? Where is the camphor? Where is chandan? Then we look for it. Get up and go and pick up again, then come back, then continue puja. No, that is considered very sinful. We should not do another. Once you have invited the Lord to reside in that particular picture or bimba or idol, then Bhagavan is present there. Then you should not neglect him. Until the puja is over, send him back. You should sit with the Lord. So here also what happened was, Bhagavan Vishnu was offering one flower, chanting one name of Lord Shiva. And suddenly Bhagavan Shivaji wanted to test Vishnu Bhagavan's devotion. So he hid one flower. It's only 999. The 1000th one is missing. Now he cannot get up until he finished the puja. That is a tradition. So he looked for lotuses. He could not find it. But it's only 999 is done. One is. Then he thought that, Bhagavan thought that, my eyes are, I am called Padmaksha, Aravindaksha. My eyes are equivalent to lotus. He removed one eye and offered him. Bhagavan was very pleased. Lord Shiva was very much pleased. Gato bhaktyutregaha parinati masau chakrabapusha. And as a blessing, Bhagavan Shivaji gifted him this Sudarshana Chakra. The Sudarshana Chakra was given to Lord Vishnu, was by Bhagavan Shivaji. Chakra Vapusha Trayanam Rakshayai Tripura Hara Jagarti Jagatam. And this discus is the one protecting the three worlds. So Sudarshana Chakra, which was given to Bhagavan Vishnu by Lord Shiva as a result of his intense devotion to the Lord, and that is protecting the whole creation. That is one story. Now continuing. Kratau supte jagrate Tumasi phala yoge kratumatam Kvakarma pradhvastam Phalati purusharadhanamrite Atastvam samprekshya Kratushu phaladana pradibhuvam Shrutau shraddham badhva Drida parikara karma sujanaha. Now here Pushpadanta is talking about karma and karma phala. So every action has got equivalent and opposite reaction. This we know. So kratau supte jagrate tomasi phala yoge kratumatam. So when a sacrifice or a ritual is performed with sincerity, that action has got result. Now this action is done in the past, a result come in the future. It is always like that. You do karma, the result comes later. But here our Pushpadanda says that so many karmas we continuously do from day in and day out, but all the karmas yield result. And according to the type of karma, according to the motive behind the karma, karma itself is not going to give you result. It is the person who is performing the action with what attitude he performs that makes the result different. So all these are accounted for. And you, O Lord, you are the connection between the action and the result. Because who keeps account? Somebody has to keep account. So it's called, in our Shastra, it is called Chitragupta. Chitragupta means, Gupta means secret, hidden. Chitra means picture. So all the impressions, they are all in the form of picture frame. So memories are all in the form of picture. That's why Chitram, Chitraguptam. It is not that one person is sitting there and writing notes about everybody. Poor guy, it will be too much problem for him. What will be his condition? If there was one person sitting there, you can manipulate also. Isn't it? Because when after death you go there and find out who is recording my things, he will find out and then find out his weakness. You taking out for dinner or something and then change the record. It is possible. But unfortunately it is not like that. It is, the impressions are registered in your subconscious in the form of picture. And that's why memories are also in the form of picture. Suppose I ask you, do you know Chatterjee? Immediately the picture of Chatterjee comes in your mind, isn't it? So this is how all memories are. Now, these results are recorded. Then who is the connection? In whom it is resting? The resting place for all memories is Bhagavan, the Lord. That's why memory can be erased. Some people memory goes, Alzheimer's disease, memory goes, but still he is alive. Consciousness is still there. So memory is something that is other than you. So what here Pushpadanda Tatparya here is that even though the result is according to the karma that you have performed, and there is an automated system created by the Lord, it is all automatically programmed and you will get the result also. It is all automated system. Even though that is the case, but still, O Lord, you have the ability to change. The Lord has the ability to change your karmas if He blesses you. So, you must have seen that, the President of America, when his second term is over, he has to retire. Before retiring, the President has the capacity to pardon some criminals, isn't it? He has that power. So he has done it also. Clinton has done it. I don't know George Bush did or not, but Clinton did. So like that, now the new president, the present president also, I don't know what he's going to do, but they have the capacity to pardon. Because president's position is very powerful. Now, if an ordinary president of this country can do that, what do you think Bhagavan cannot do it? He is the Lord of the whole universe. Will He not able to pardon someone? So you have the ability to remove somebody's totally erase or remove. That's why Bhagavan is called Hara, Harati. So Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. What is Hari? Hara, Haran karne wala. The one who steals, loot your papas. Whatever that we don't want, that alone we want to give to Bhagavan, isn't it? We don't want to give what we really want. What is that we don't want? Papam, our sins. That alone, O Lord, you take away from us. So these karma phalas are like papas, and that is the one Bhagavan takes away. That's why Lord Krishna is very famous about looting or stealing butter. The butter stands for karma phala. Because in order to bring butter, so much work is required, isn't it? The feeding the cows and taking care of them, and then milking the cow, and then afterwards milk is taken to the stove and heated up, and then afterwards cooling down, and then they churn the milk, and slowly, little by little, you collect the butter and put it in a cold, bowl with water, and little by little you collect. The same way, all our punyas we collect very little by little only, like bank balance. So we slowly collect, and that becomes an obstacle between you and the Lord. Whether it is punya phala or papa phala, both are obstacles. Therefore, this Bhagavan Krishna looted, that means what? He removed the obstacle between the devotee and him and made them reach him. That was the beauty. That was the purpose of Bhagavan's avatar also. And the Makhanchor and all that you must have heard. So here also the Pushpadanda says, one thing that if you perform tapas, you definitely get result. If you perform rituals, there is definitely result. They have this faith because you are the one giving the result. You are the karma phala dhata. So therefore, because of that reason, people engage themselves in the Vedic rituals and tapas continuously. And this kartuhu ajnaya prapyate phalam, our Upadeshasaram, our Ramana Maharshi says, kartuhu ajnaya prapyate phalam karma kim param karma tajjatam kriti mahodatau patana karanam phalama chashyatam gati nirotakam. So there is a contention that if you perform a ritual properly, result will come automatically. There is no God required. So there is the Purvapaksha is there by the Karmakantis. Karmakantins raise an objection to Vedanta, saying that rituals, if it is performed, and that ritual itself will give result, that is what is given in our Vedas. So there is nothing called karma phala dhata, the person who is a giver of the result. That is not necessary. The very ritual itself is the giver of result. It is not like Lord Bhagavan. So our Ramana Maharshi answered that kartuhu ajnaya phalam prapyate. Without a karma phala dhata, a presiding deity, because the law is there in this world, even civil laws you can see, even the laws are capable of giving punishment and reward automatically. Then there was no need of a judge, there was no need of lawyers to interpret the law. So the very fact that law by itself cannot give you the result unless there is a person handling that law. The same way, even though nature, in this nature there are law of nature is there, but that law of nature can work only when there is somebody is executing that law. So that lawgiver is Bhagavan. So without his blessing, result will not come. If that is the case, whatever action that we perform, we should get the right result. Whenever we perform an action, we want the right result. With that hope alone, we start our project. But there is no guarantee that every action that you perform, you will get the desired result. Simple dal you make every day doesn't come out the same way. So what to talk about other things? So Bhagavan is the one who is presiding over our action and the result. He is the connecting link. With his blessing alone, the result come. That is why when the result come, we take it as prasad, because it is coming from the Lord himself. So this is the idea given in this 20th verse. Now, now the next one is, the Lord himself is the one given out yajna, yagas in the Vedas. Vedas have come from him, so he himself has given, he has encouraged people to perform rituals. But here in one case, you see Bhagavan himself destroy the yajna, yaga. That was Daksha Prajapati. So he encourages yajna, like Ramchandra ji, Yajna Rakshaka. He protected all yajnas. But here, Bhagavan Shivji says, he has destroyed one yajna performed by his own father-in-law. That is Daksha. So that story is what is told here. Kriya Daksho Dakshaha Kratupatirati-shastanubhratam Rishinamartijyam Sharanada Sadasya Suragana Kradur Brahmshastvattaha Kratupala Vidhana Vyasanina Dhruvam Kartushraddha Viduramapi charaya himakha. Kriya daksho dakshaha kratu patiradhishastanu bhritam. You all must be knowing the story that Daksha Prajapati was promoted to a higher position as Prajapati, and at that time he wanted to perform. Those days people celebrated their promotion performing rituals. Nowadays it is party, isn't it? So instead of party, those days they used to do rituals. Satyanarayana puja karenge, sabko bulayenge, party afterwards. So first is puja and then party. So here also he invited all devatas, Brahma, Vishnu, including Brahmaji, Vishnu Bhagavan, Indra Devata, Agni Devata, Varuna Devata, all of them Saptarishis. And they were all in their aerial car, they were wearing beautiful dress, because they were all going to the party. So they are all going, zoom was going their car. So Sati At that time, her name was Sati. Sati saw so many bhid-bhad, traffic jam in the air. What is this? Where are they going? So she came and asked Bhagavan Shivji, where are these people going? Bhagavan said, they are all going to your father's house. What? Father's house? For what? Because he is promoted, he is performing a great ritual, and they are all invited, they are going. So what about us? He must have sent the invitation, but postal delay must be there. So I also want to go. So Bhagavan said, if you are not invited, it is not proper to go uninvited. Then she argued, it is my house, my father, I don't need invitation to go to my own house. But that is okay. Bhagavan said, if a person is deliberately not invited you, then going there is harmful. You will be insulted. Then she asked, why should he deliberately not invite me? What did I do to my father? Then he narrated a story which he never told her before. That in one time, when all the Brahmasadas, all the Devatas and all that sitting there, Bhagavan Shivji was there sitting. Bhagavan, wherever he sit, he goes into meditation. He was in Samadhi. At that time, the Daksha Prajapati entered the hall. All the Devatas, everybody got up to receive him with respect. But Lord Shiva did not get up. This infuriated Daksha. You are my son-in-law. As a son-in-law and the father-in-law come, you should get up and respect. And you are uncultured, uncouth. You don't even know how to dress properly. And it is a mistake that I married my daughter to you. It is not that I wanted her to marry you. I wanted her to marry a better person. But because of insistence of my father, Brahmaji, I had to give in. So now you are proving your unworthiness. Like this, he started cursing Bhagavan. And Bhagavan did not say anything. He didn't even know Daksha Prajapati came. So when all this shouting, yelling was going on, he opened his eyes, saw Daksha Prajapati showering abuses on him. Bhagavan just got up from there and he walked away. He didn't say anything. But that grudge was there in the mind of Daksha, and he deliberately did not invite Shiva and Sati. But Sati was bent upon going because that is the only chance to meet her sisters and mother. It will be like a family reunion. I can meet them. I have not seen them for a long time. So this is an opportunity. Let me go. So Bhagavan again reminded her that you are not invited. Please don't go. But she said, nothing doing, I am going. And he said, okay, if you are going, take the Nandi and other Ganas as your escort and then go. Then she went. When she went, there was a lukewarm reception. Even father looked at her, turned his face, and mother was the only one came and talked to her. Everybody else in that assembly, they were not friendly to her because the Daksha Prajapati has warned her. Now insulting her, she could take it, but then when she went to the Yajnashala, there she saw there is no portion allotted to Lord Shiva. Every other devatas were given their position and their offerings, but when it comes to Lord Shiva, it was totally not given. When her husband was insulted, she could not take it, and she went and addressed her father. Father, how can you do this? And that Lord Shiva, whose feet is even now worshipped by Brahmaji and Vishnu and other gods, how can you consider him as an ordinary being? Like this, she started talking about Lord Shiva and the insult that he is giving to Lord Shiva. Finally, Daksha Prajapati did not yield or listen to her advice. Instead, he told her to get out of the place if you want to keep your life. And he said, the day I married you to that person, I have considered you are dead. You are no more my daughter. She could not take this anymore, and she said, when I go back, my Lord will call me Dakshayani, which reminds me of my father. I do not consider that I should keep this body. So she burned herself through her Yogagni. Kindling her Yogagni, she burned herself. And when the news came to Bhagavan Shivaji, Shivaji got really angry because Sati was his devotee. Devotee was insulted. He took one jada from his hair and threw it on the ground. Veerabhadra came and he ordered Veerabhadra to go and destroy the yajna. Not only the yajna, Daksha Prajapati also. And when Veerabhadra came and destroyed the whole Yagshala, including Daksha, was killed. Then all the devatas, including Brahmaji, every one of them went and praised Lord Shiva. Bhagavan is pleased very easily, and Bhagavan finally restored Daksha Prajapati's life back again, but with the head of a goat, not a human head. Because Daksha was telling meh, meh, meh. So goat also says meh, meh, meh. So that is the reason maybe. Oh. Afterwards, Bhagavan Shivaji took the body of Sati, the burned body of Sati, and he was in a very sad mood. He was holding on to that body. And if that condition continue, it is not good for the welfare of the world. So Bhagavan Vishnu used his chakra and cut off the body of Sati, and that pieces of that body fell different places. That is why those places are considered great importance to Devi, like Vaishnavi Devi, Shakti Peedam it is called, they are all Shakti Peedam. In Kamakshi, in Assam also there is one. Like that, there are so many places in India fell down. So that story is told here, Kriya Dakshaha. So surely sacrifices lacking faith in you, because sacrifice or yajna is to propitiate the Lord. If that Lord whom you have to propitiate is insulted, then how can that yajna will be fulfilling and yield a result? Rishinam artijyam sharanada sadasya suragana kratu brahmshastvattaha kratubala vidhana vyasaninaha. So this, how can the sacrifice by one taking lacking faith in the Lord can ever get right result? It will lead to great harm. And this Daksha's yajna was destroyed by you who were conducting a sacrifice, who was a chief performer. He was a champion of all the sacrifices. Among the great sages and priests, gods and were the participants, and Bhagavan destroyed that yajna. It is very important to note that usually you are the one who blesses people, but here you went and destroyed. So the reason must be very significant. That is what now, the 21st verse, now 22nd. Prajanatham natha prasabhamapikam swam duhitaram gatam rohit bhutam Riramayishu mritsyasya vapusha dhanushpaneryatam divamapi sapatra kritamapam kritamamum prasandam tetyapi tyajati na mrigavyakarabhasa. Now, there is a story in Bhagavatam. Once Brahmaji, he kept on creating beings out of his mind. Saptarshis were created, Sanat Kumaras were created, Narada was created, and then finally he created Saraswati. Saraswati was so beautiful, Brahmaji himself fell in love with her. Now, because of this passion for his own daughter, Brahmaji started running after her. Now this Saraswati took the form of a female deer to escape from Brahmaji. And Brahmaji took the form of a he-deer and chased her. Now, this was being watched by Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is Antaratma. Antaratma as a Sakshi is witnessing all that is happening in our mind. Brahmaji stands for our buddhi and Saraswati is our mind. So this buddhi and mind, this chasing after each other. So this is what is observed by Bhagavan, Sakshi Paramatma. So when Lord Shiva saw this, he took his bow and arrow and shot Brahmaji. And then Brahmaji turned into a nakshatra. This is called Mrigashirsha Nakshatra, is Brahmaji. Then the arrow became Ardra Nakshatra. Then the daughter became Rohini. So Chandra has got, she became the wife of, Rohini became the wife of Chandra, moon, later. So your anger seems to be not left him even now, because pierced by your arrow and frightened, he fled to the sky becoming star. So Brahmaji became a star. He was afraid of the arrow of Bhagavan Shivaji. The idea here is that whatever that thought, good or bad or evil, whatever that rises in our mind, don't think that nobody knows, okay? Bhagavan is witnessing our thought. Nobody can escape that. In Bhagavatam, when the story is told, there is a lot of discussion about this. Why should Brahmaji could get such thoughts? He is supposed to be pure. The answer is given. Brahmaji stands for total vasanas. Total antakarana is Brahmaji. These thoughts are there in the total. Naturally, it gets affected. That's why in the newspaper you can hear that also. Child molestation. All these are all there, inherent in the mind. So to depict that, be warned that these thoughts are there, inherent. When it erupts, we don't know. So be warned. That is the point. So somebody is watching over you. Be careful about such thoughts. That's the idea here. Now, Pushpadanda says, Lord Shiva is so dispassionate that he never gets carried away with the worldly matters. So here, the way Pushpadanda tells the story is also very humorous. Once Parvati thought that Lord Shiva is attracted to her beauty. When Kamdev shot an arrow, Bhagavan was disturbed from his tapas, and when he looked at her, he fell in love. This was the pride of Parvati. Now Pushpadanda says, don't think like that. It is not that he fell in love with your beauty. And that is told here. Swalavanya shamsa Drita danusha mahnaya trinavat Pura plushtam drishtva Pura matana pushpa yuthamapi Yedistrainam devi Yama nirata dehartha khadanad Avaiditva matha Badavarata mugdha yuvataya O one engaged in austerities, Varada Mugdha Yuvadaya. Okay. Young women, Swalavanya Shamsa, Dhridadanusha, Mahnaya Trinavat. Young woman, Parvati, surely was under delusion. Because she is, afterwards she was given the status of Ardhanarishwara. Bhagavan gave half portion of himself for her, Parvati. And she thinks that it is because of her beauty. So he says, no. Hey, destroyer of 3 cities, How can she think so even when she saw that Lord burned Kamadev with his third eye and who was confident, holding a bow and arrow of flowers, that he can disturb Lord Shiva and make him fall in love with Parvati. That Kamadev was burned in front of her. Then how can she, Parvati, have this pride that Bhagavan fell for her beauty? In fact, Bhagavan did not fell for her beauty. Bhagavan fell for her tapas. Because the way Parvati did tapas, standing in the middle of 5 fires, Panchakni Madhya, she stood in one leg and did tapas. Even the Evarshis, Maharishis, when they came and saw the tapas of Parvati, they were amazed. And because of that Ghora tapas, she earned the merit. And that is the reason why she got the place next to Bhagavan. So it is not with her beauty at all. This is what Pushpadanta want to say. Now, Bhagavan's habit is given here. Smashaneshva krida Smarahara pishacha sahachara Chitabhasma lepaha Sragapi nrikaroti parikaraha Amangalyam Sheelam Tava Bhavatu Namaiva Makilam Tathapi Smartranam Varata Paramam Mangalamasi Smashaneshu krida. You sport in cremation grounds. Smarahara pishacha sahacharaha. Ghosts are your companions. Because Smashana is the last place everybody has to go. Our destiny is Smashanam. And from that Smashanam only the journey towards the Lord starts. So therefore Bhagavan likes that place, Smashanam. Then Pishacha, ghosts are your companion, because nobody wants ghosts to be their companion. The ghosts get rejected from everywhere. Nowhere to go. So Bhagavan gives shelter to them. If Bhagavan also give up, where will they go? So Bhagavan accepts them as companion. Chitabhasma lepaha. You smear your body with ash from burned bodies, just to remind you that one day everybody has to become ashes. So this reminder is known to us. Our behavior in the world also become better. We forget that one day we have to die. Once you know that I have to give up this body, I have to leave this body here, I cannot take this with me, then your attachment to the body will not be that much. Right now we are so much attached to our body. We spend hours and money also to maintain this. So that attachment will go. That is the idea. Chitabhasma lepaha, the one who has given up completely the attachment towards one body. That is the symbolism of that. Sragapi nrikarodi parigaraha. And even your garland is made of human skulls. Amangalyam Sheelam. Oh Lord, your contact looks inauspicious. The way you behave, you dress, all of them look inauspicious. But what are you? You are the one who bestows Mangalyam, auspiciousness to all. Your name is Shankara, Sam Kalyanam Karoti, Sam Mangalam Karoti, Shankaraha, the one who gives Mangalam, auspiciousness to all, who just think of you. That is your nature. Tadapis matrinam varada paramam mangalamapi, the one who remembers you. You bestow upon them all auspiciousness. That is your nature, but your behavior looks as though inauspicious. It is a contradiction. Now, about pranayama, he gives a verse. Mana pratyak chitte savitham avadhayatta marutaha pragrishyadromanaha pramada salilotsangita drisha yada lokyahladam hradaiva nimajjamritamaye tadatyandastatvam kimapi yaminastat kila bhavan. Manaha pratyak chitte savidam avadhayatta marutaha. Now, this is talking about pranayama. How people with great self-control restrain their breath in right ways. Now, this is to be pranayama to be practiced only with the help of a teacher. Don't listen to some TV advertisement and start practicing. Prana is very dynamic. You should know how to control it, handle it. So if you have a teacher, with the help of him or her, you will be able to handle it. So they have to, the one round, first you take the breath, right nostril, release it through left nostril, take it again from the left nostril and exhale it through right nostril. This is called one round. Like this 24 rounds you do every day, morning and evening. Like this 1 year, if you do this, then you get Nadi Shuddhi, purity. You purify your Nadi. Then only you can get into Kumbhagam, Andak Kumbhagam, Bahik Kumbhagam, Rechakam, Ityadi practices. Then slowly they say your prana from the Mooladhara to different chakras you have to raise. Finally, it will come to the eye, in between the eyebrows. From there, it is to be taken to Sahasrara, the head. There are like 1,000-petaled lotus. And from there, you can gain moksha. So this is the pranayama method that is being described here with great control. Manapratyak-chitte savidam avadhayattamarudaha prahishyadromana pramada salilot-sangita trishaha. So Ramana Maharshi also talked about the pranabandhanat lina manasam ekachintanat nastya. Ekachintanat, the prana, with pranayama, when your mind is controlled, like jalapakshivat rodasadhanam, it is something like a pakshi is caged in a cage, how it will become controlled. The same way, as long as your prana, because prana and mind is connected, they are like two branches of a tree. So therefore, when you control prana, mind automatically get controlled. That's why when your emotions are, like the mind is agitated with anger or emotion or passion, you can watch your breath, it will be uneven. When the mind is quiet, calm, peaceful, your breathing will be even. So, breath and the mind is connected. Therefore, one method of controlling the mind is controlling the breath. Vedantic method is different. Vedantic method is, mind is nothing but thoughts. So to control the mind, they don't use pranayama. They use control the thoughts. So when you reduce the thought, mind automatically gets settled. So the technique of reducing the thoughts and quietening the mind in the Vedantic meditation is different. But Ashtanga Yoga meditation, pranayama is highlighted. In that also there are so many types of pranayama. Most of the commonly practiced pranayama is Sukha pranayama, where there are no harm. Like our Ramdev Maharaj gives this Kapalabhati and things like that. They are all harmless, and which gives you good result also. Such pranayamas you can practice without getting into trouble. But once you advance in that practice and your breath is taken, moved from the Mooladhara to different chakras, then when you experience that joy of bliss, as though your hair standing on end, Yadalokyakhladam hridaiva nimajjamrdamaye, as though you have been dipped in nectarine happiness. Beholding the truth within, dadatyandastatvam kimapi yamanistat kila bhavan. And that truth is none other than Lord Shiva. They understand that truth is you. O Lord, you are the truth. Now here again it is Dvaitam. The devotee is appreciating the truth as Lord. This he considers as moksha, but that is not. Still there is, it is savikalpa samadhi, still there is a vikalpa that I am different from the Lord. It is not moksha, it is closer to it, but not moksha. Moksha is only when that Shiva, the Lord, is myself. this connection is not made, moksha is not possible. But anyway, that is the Yoga Shastra. That is the way they talk about moksha. So that is what Pushpadanda gives here. Then people worship you, scholars speak such words of glorification about you. There are different names of Bhagavan is given here. Tomarkastvam somaha, Tomasi pavanastvam hutavaha, Tomapastvam vyoma, Tomudharani sratma tomiti cha, Parichinnāmevam Toyi parinata vipratigiram Navitmastattatvam Vayamihatu yattvam na bhavasi. So the scholars speak of you in limited words, because the words really cannot convey your glory. So they say, you are the sun, tvamarkatvam, and you are the moon, somatvam asi, pavanatvam, you are the air, hutavahaha means you are the fire. Hutavahaha is another name for fire. Huta means this offering in the fire. Who carries, Vahaha means the one who carries the offering is called fire. Huta Vahaha. Toma apastvam, you are apaha, water. Vyoma, you are space. Tomu dharaniratma, you are the earth. And Atma Tomiticha, and the Atma, the consciousness, also is you. And here says, Parichinnāmevam toyi parinata vibhratigiram na vitmastattatvam vayamihatu yattvam na bhavasi. Yaha tvam na bhavasi, that which you are not. In fact, we do not know there is such a thing that you are not. So, in fact, there is no point telling that you are sun, you are moon, you are earth, you are fire. These Panchabodhas are you. It is not necessary to tell all that. Even though scholars praises you like that. But Pushpadanda says, I am telling you, there is nothing that he is not. Everything in this world is Bhagavan only. Why don't you say in a simple way, instead of going all that? Tam Brahmatvam, Vishnutvam, Vashatkaratvam, Brahmatvam, like that. There is a, even in what you call Vishnu Suktam, it is there. Narayana Suktam, Narayana Suktam or Vishnu Suktam, it is there. You are everything. Now the next verse is talking about Omkara. Omkara I already talked to you in the evening, so you already know about it. But anyway, I will read, see. Trayitisro vritti Tribhuvana matotri napisuran Akarate varnai Tribhirabhitatat tirna vikritihi Turiyam te dhama Dvani bhiravarundana manubihi samastam vyastam tvam sharanada kridathyomiti padam. Tritisro vritti tribhuvana madho trinapi suran. Akaradde varnos tripirabhidatat tirna vikriti. Turiyam te dhama dhvanibhiravarundhanam anupihi. Samastam vyastam tvam sharanata grhanatyom iti padam. With Om, what is indicated is, O Lord, it is you are indicated by the word Om. You are the one who grant refuge. It stands for 3 Vedas and 3 states, waking, dream and deep sleep, and Bhu, Bhuvas, Suvaha, 3 worlds, and 3 Murtis, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So wherever there is 3, 3, 3, 3, so Omkara represent that. Akara, Ukara, Makara represent waking, dream, deep sleep, Bhu, Bhuvas, Suvaha. So this earth and interspace and the heaven. So all these 3 letters represent 3 states, 3 world, 3 principal God, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Even though they are 3 separate words, but they are one. And this Om has got one single united sound, Omkara Shabda. And that Omkara is representing, indicating ultimately your attributeless nature, at the same time your nature with attribute. The 4th, that is Turiya state. Turiyam te dhama. So, Turiyam means what? A is waking, U is dream, Ma is deep sleep. The 4th state, the silence, is called Amatra state. And that Amatra state is called Turiyam. Turiyam is Bhagavan. So, Omkara Upasana is also considered the most highest Upasana. It is called Pratika Upasana. There are 2 types of Upasana. One is called Pratima Upasana. Another is called Pratika Upasana. Pratima Upasana is like Lord Shiva, Lord Rama, Krishna. These are all form of Lord. But when you take a symbol like Shivalinga or Omkara or Salagrama, these are all Pratika Upasana. So Omkara Upasana become Pratika Upasana. And this is considered very, very powerful Upasana, Omkara Upasana. Most of the sadhus, sannyasis, they always do Omkara Upasana. And how to do that Upasana? You have to study Mandukya Upanishad. They tell you. My topic is not that, so we will talk this much only. He is told only that much only I am telling you. We will see tomorrow the rest of the verses. See. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.